What's up, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Sharts podcast with DP. I am your host, Despop, also known as Jay Simaho. Today is 16 June 2026, and I hope everybody just came off a great fucking weekend. I seriously do. Today, I'd like to focus a little bit on mental health. I'm going to tell you a little story about my time back on the PD. This is going back to, I believe, 97. I was a rookie cop, maybe 6 months on the job. I was 22 or just turned 23, and I was a cop in the capital city back east. You know, we had our share of bullshit. You know, it was pretty busy. Typical crime rate. You know, we weren't immune as a capital city to shenanigans and murders and homicides and all sorts of fucking capers, from drugs to sexual assaults to whatever, bank robberies, anything in between. And so, coming out of the academy, you're working with some of your classmates. There are a couple districts over. Everything's divided by neighborhood. You got your car post you're responsible for. And, you know, we were constantly comparing notes, especially after work. We'd meet up in the parking lot. What'd you do today? Oh, I went to this kind of call. I went to this kind of call. And we basically covered it really quick, covered the gamut in calls, from domestics to robberies to murders. Although I hadn't had a homicide yet. In fact, I hadn't had a dead body at all. I'm 6 months in, and all the murders either happened when I wasn't working, or they happened too far away in another part of the city that I wasn't allowed to cross over to see. So I didn't have my dead body. That's fine. Nothing to brag about. Who the fuck wants a dead body? But it was still something that everybody else had experienced that I hadn't. You know, I'm a young kid, still haven't seen it. We had just made it through the summer, so they're telling stories about, you know, the stinkers and the fourth floor apartments in the middle of summer, you know, dead for a week, and then they find them. And I never even had the chance to respond to one of these. So it's about 2 days before Christmas, and we were taught, most cops know this, public might not know this, that the holidays, especially Christmas, is really, really bad for suicides. You know, it should be the most joyous part of the year, ends up being very sad and depressing for a lot of people. So you get a call on my post. I'm dispatched to this house for an attempted suicide or suicide in progress. We don't know if it's happened yet. The person that made the call wasn't very clear, a little bit of broken English. So we get there, right? And we go into the back door. And we come in through the kitchen of this old house, historic Victorian style house, couple hundred years old. And we come into the back door. We have a kitchen, right? We're on the first floor. And there's this guy. He's doing laps. He's just walking in this continuous circle around the kitchen table. And he is like, he's a zombie, robot, like I mean, he was just on, like somebody pushed a button, and he wouldn't talk to us. He wouldn't say a word to us. He wouldn't even acknowledge our presence. And I immediately thought, okay, this might be the guy, right? He hasn't done it yet, because that's how the call came in. Like, it wasn't like a done deal. It's like, all right, we got rescue down the street, and they usually stage for these type scenarios. They want us to make sure that the scene is secure, there's no weapons, get the guy, if the person's still alive, hopefully they'll come in and treat him. And before we could have rescue come in, there was another little guy. He was in a wheelchair, much older. Now, this guy was kind of old. He was like in his 60s. But there was a guy much older. He was in a wheelchair, and he is, you know, waving us over to him. He's in the living room, and he starts pointing down. He starts pointing down towards the basement. So we decide, okay, somebody sit with this dude that's just walking in circles, and the rest of us will go downstairs and see what they're talking about. So we're in this basement again, very, very old house. It wasn't a finished basement, but it was sectioned off well. A lot of rooms in the basement, and it's pitch black. Can't find any lights. Leaky pipes, what we think of leaky pipes all over us, just very damp. And I happen into one room, and I find a workbench. And on the workbench is the barrel of a 3006, sawed off. It was right next to a hacksaw. And then, almost simultaneously, another guy comes over from the other side of the basement, and he goes, hey, I found him. He's in here. And as soon as he says that, he then clicks onto the microphone, tells dispatcher, hey, tell rescue to disregard. There's nothing they can do for him. And I'm like, oh, shit. Now I got a lump in my pit in my stomach. I'm like, oh shit, this is real, right? And it's so pitch black, and we're just flashlight only, and I finally find my way into that other room, and I'm looking down at something that just didn't look real to me. Most of us are brought up, on Hollywood television. We think we know gore, Friday the 13th, Michael Myers. We think we know what bodies look like and what blood looks like and what brains look like and guts and all that shit. And let me tell you something. You have no idea. None of it looks real. In fact, I remember coming in, there was a guy standing next to me. He had like 20 years on the job. He had been to 1,000 of these calls, and he just keeps repeating, "What the fuck? That's not real. What the fuck? That's not real." Like, it just didn't look real. The guy had no fucking head, 3006 in his mouth. All that was there, you could make out maybe just a portion of a lower jaw. It was just a body with just a little, like a row of teeth, and that was it. Everything else was completely gone. It was just a pile of what looked like gray slimy spaghetti on the ground. Like no blood. There was an eyeball in the center of the fucking spaghetti, and I had never seen anything like it. I'm like, that's not real. It can't be real. Well, it was real. And at some point somebody finds a light switch, and we're all there must be 10 of us in this room, and they find the light switch, and we're all looking at each other fucking horrified, because what we thought were leaky pipes weren't. And none of us are wearing hats, but we got our winter gear on, and they issued us these really nice sharp leather jackets, man. We're one of the only departments in the country to rock these gorgeous black leather jackets, right? All dressed up with our logo and stuff, and our hair is just covered in fucking brains all over our shoulders on the leather jacket. We're just covered in this dude's fucking brain matter. Just then, well, actually, at that point, a sergeant looks at me and says, "You want to go off with some pasta after this?" And just busted my balls as the rookie, right? But then we hear this female scream from upstairs, and it was loud, and it was a death scream. And it's the wife of this guy, had just come home. The guy that was upstairs doing circles, that was this guy's brother. He was the first to find him, and that explains, like, he was upstairs just in shock, total shock after what he saw, after what I'm looking at. Like I said, didn't look real. And woman starts screaming, and she starts trying to push her way past the cops. Now, back then, this was before cell phone time. She was at work. She had no idea. Nobody called her. Nobody told her nothing. So she was just coming into work. And when she saw the brother and the old man in the kitchen, and not her husband, she knew. She knew what had happened, because he had been very, very depressed lately. It turns out, the story goes, he was like a head mechanic for a major car dealership, and he had been working his whole life straight off the boat from Portugal, like not a word of fucking English, right? He was just one of those old school immigrants that just worked, and that's how he measured his worth, like his pride in his work and being able to provide. And a few months earlier, he tried to lift an engine by himself and threw out his back. Was told, "You're done. You're never going to work in this field again. In fact, you're probably going to be sitting in a chair for the rest of your life." And it hurt him so much, even though they had tons of money. The wife worked full time, like it was just a pride thing. Old school fucking immigrant. It was a pride thing. He couldn't take it. He couldn't take it not being the one bringing home the paycheck to the wife, right? And he had been very depressed. The wife knew. The wife knew, but she was still trying to push her way back, and there was no way we could let her see. This is closed casket all day. And so the sergeant looks at me and says, "What are you doing? Get up there. This is your call, buddy. You own this. You got to talk to her. You got to calm her down. You got to reason with her." And I'm like, 23. I'm like, I've never dealt with this in my life, man. I was so afraid. I was fucking so afraid. And I went up there and I tried talking to this woman, man. And I can't remember what I said, but I know I was of no use. I was of no help to her. I was of no fucking consolation. I'm trying to come up with all this movie hallmark fucking cliche bullshit. Tomorrow's a better day and blah, blah. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And I just sat there talking to her. She ended up calming me down. That's how it went, because she had been expecting this for so long. And I was useless. I felt so fucking weak and useless. And then, fast forward how many years later, I'm involved in this altercation on the job, left with a traumatic brain injury. Should have died, didn't. I come out of that with severe PTSD. And then from that point on, from like 2006 on, it's suicide. It's just a very, very, it's a major force. It's fucking with me every day. Just when I think I got it beat, I don't. Man. It's just a constant fucking battle. But one of the reasons why I think I'm still here today is because of that call. That call back in 1997 when I was just a kid, and seeing the look on her face, the eyes, man, it was love. It was love. She was again, she was older, like she wasn't going to start over again. This was it. This was it for her. Her life was over. I mean, she's still breathing air, but she wasn't going to go dating again. This was it for her. She lost everything 2 days before fucking Christmas. And my inability to fucking know even what to say to her. And I often think, also the fact that she knew it was coming. She couldn't stop it. She knew it. She knew it was coming. And, it's been a constant battle for my family. My son, they've been waiting for that phone call from some police department, in Anywhere USA, letting them know that, we found your father, or we found your, telling my parents, we found your son, and they've been waiting for that fucking call. And I often think back to that day, and one thing I never want to do is have a rookie police officer put in that position. You don't know if it's going to be a rookie, but if it is, have a rookie police officer put in that position, but also have my son or my family have to hear a rookie police officer fall all over himself trying to explain things, right? Trying to, console you. Like, I wouldn't put them through that. I couldn't do it. And it all goes back to that day with that woman. And just, again, she calmed me. It definitely wasn't the way it was supposed to work. Not the way I planned it, but, I'd been the last one to catch a body in my academy, and believe me, I probably caught the worst one, without a doubt, so still sits with me today. Part of the reason why I'm still here, not wanting to do that to others. It's the side that nobody sees. It's the side that nobody sees, especially the person committing the act. They don't see what it does to that wife or that child or that brother who's now in a state of shock, walking laps around a kitchen table, can't even fucking speak, and yeah, it still bothers me to this day. It's still stuck with me. So anyway, how do we fight demons here on this show? A little bit of humor, some levity, as you would call it. So it's time, it's been a minute, but it's time for the H1B Chronicles.
Please.
AJ could want the phenomenal forearm yet again. Now he's locked and loaded. Has LA Knight where he wants him off the top rope. Knight! Oh, nasty landing for Styles. And now LA Knight measuring his man. BFT! That's gonna do it. Blunt force drop.
And after that, we'll move right into the final call. On this date, June 16th, 2023, police officer Mark Christopher Wagner, Wintergreen PD in Virginia, was shot and killed after responding to a domestic disturbance call at a home on Arrowwood Lane at about 10 p.m. A man had assaulted two other men in the home and then left the residence. Officer Wagner located the subject in the woods line near the house after arriving at the scene. A struggle ensued, during which Officer Wagner was shot and killed with his own duty weapon. The subject was also shot during the struggle. The subject was arrested by other Wintergreen PD officers and deputies from the Nelson County Sheriff's Office. He was charged with capital murder, use of a firearm, and the commission of a felony, and 2 counts of malicious wounding. In February 2025, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, use of a firearm, and malicious wounding, and was sentenced in September 2025 to 40 years for second-degree murder, 3 years for use of a firearm and commission of a felony, and 5 years for malicious wounding. Officer Wagner had served with the Wintergreen PD for 3 years and had previously served as a police officer with the Massanutten PD for 1 year. He is survived by his mother, father, stepmother, 3 brothers, and a sister. Also on this date, 1971, Patrolman Sidney Sam Jr., Chicago PD, was shot and killed when he was identified as an officer during a robbery while off duty. He had just finished his shift and was sitting in his personal car, still in uniform, when he was approached in front of 1537 South Kaminsky Avenue. He was shot and killed when he was identified as a police officer. 3 subjects were identified, apprehended, and convicted of his murder. One, age 17, was sentenced to 30 to 75 years. Another, age 18, was sentenced to 25 to 50. The third, age 19, was sentenced to 20 to 50 years. Patrolman Sidney had served with the Chicago PD for 2 years. He was survived by his wife and 3 children. Lastly, on this date, back in 1904, police officer Frank Tucker, Provo PD, Utah, was accidentally shot and killed at the Utah County Sheriff's Office inside the county courthouse on Center Street. As he stood up from his chair to leave, a service pistol fell from his back pocket. When it struck the floor, the weapon discharged, striking him just above the hip and entered his torso. He succumbed to the wound before a doctor arrived at the scene. Officer Tucker had previously served as Provo City Marshal and had recently been reappointed as a police officer to serve during the Elks Carnival. He was survived by his wife and 4 children. May they all continue to rest in peace. And we'll end like we always do, but before we go with our timeline cleanse, remember, to all those out there struggling with that demon, to stop, breathe, survive. Later, bitches.
I also had a meeting with her ex that was in Mexico. He came, the one that's been giving me all the information on her. Yeah, that one. And so there's some more.
Her coyote boyfriend.
There's some more receipts that I need to pull out here. There's some more receipts, y'all. And this is what he gave me.
I'm gonna step back.
This is what he gave me. So I want y'all to understand something here. Y'all know I keep these receipts, and y'all know I'm gonna be all about the business. So, Miss Jennifer, while you over here talking shit about people, why you got shit in your drawers, bitch? Because these are the drawers that this man said you left and you ain't come back and get them with your nasty ass. Yeah, that's you. You talking shit and you got shit in your drawers. You don't even know how to wipe your ass. You don't know how to wipe your ass. Ma'am, are you serious? You over here want to put your mouth on people and don't know how to put a rag to your ass.
Brush some teeth or...
Baby, you better clean this ass. You better clean it together. Because, baby, this is too much. That man gave this to me. That man kept these stanky ass drawers that your bitch ass was wearing.
We needed a mask for this brush.
Baby, I think that bitch got COVID in the coochie. I'm dead. This old COVID coochie ass bitch. See, this is the shit I be talking about. You want to put your mouth on people. You got the right one, bitch. And I said what I said. I was up here waiting on you. You talking about you want to bring it to the gym. Baby, I'll bring it to the street where it ain't no rules. So where you at, you old crusty coochie looking ass bitch, you? Yeah. Poor hygiene having ass bitch. This man gave me this shit. This some real shit. Boy, I'm dead. Woo. And I'm done.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Get him, Jay.
You got DP'd.